welcome to the 1 o'clock news from Neston High School. I'm Keris.
And I'm Emma.
Our headlines this afternoon. Happy birthday, YouTube. As online video sharing reaches its first decade, we ask, how are our children being affected?
Also on today's news, with reports suggesting 50% of us will face cancer in our lifetimes, is the NHS really doing all it can to fight back?
And finally, our special report. Government cuts to council funding, leaving areas around the country struggling to pay the bills.
Our first story this afternoon, happy birthday YouTube. As YouTube reaches its 10th year, supplying people with funny videos of cats playing the piano.
What started off on the 14th of February 2005 as a minute internet domain by 3 former PayPal workers has now rocketed into the second largest search engine, sparking professional careers and millions of fans spread around the world. As YouTube celebrates its 10th birthday, we ask, are online celebrities good role models for the younger generation?
Online celebrities, or vloggers as they are known, are the up-and-coming celebrities for internet users. Increasingly, these vloggers are becoming familiar faces offline as well as on YouTube channels. Zoe Sugg, better known as Zoella, is a YouTuber/vlogger who's found her fame by posting videos on beauty, fashion and general lifestyle vlogs. You may have seen her on your TV screens as she recently took part in the Great British Bake Off for comic relief and has been present in countless interviews. The owner of a bath and beauty range, as well as a published book, Girl Online, Zoe also suffers from anxiety and panic attacks since she was 14. She shares her tribulations on her YouTube channel, which has accumulated over 2 billion views and over 7 million subscribers, many of whom pose questions about mental health and confidence, and what they feel is a safe and accessible forum.
However, the questions remain about whether the behaviour of YouTubers in general, especially the male vloggers, is beneficial for the younger generation, and if futile dares, irrational swearing and avoidable innuendos are having a knock-on effect with the youth of today. Experts claim they are quickly becoming iconic role models for teenagers, with 48 hours of footage posted every minute. The YouTubers cover a vast spread of topics from gaming to beauty, from dares to Q&As, so the subscribers have plenty to choose from. This also results in viewers coming in constantly to watch their idols talk to a camera, especially noting the weekend of May 21st, 2011 saw over 3 billion views per day. In line with this growing concern, recently the BBC News reported that YouTube has launched a new app predominantly for children. This came out in the US on Monday, 23rd of February 2015, and is due to reach the UK soon. Aiming to make children's internet use safer, it is organised into 4 categories: shows, music, learning and explore. Furthermore, everything will be age appropriate for the audience. The NSPCC welcomed the move, saying keeping children safe online is the biggest child protection challenge of this generation, so it's good to hear about YouTube Kids.
Each month, a staggering 4 billion hours of viewership take place, making YouTube more popular than ever. Furthermore, within the next 10 years, YouTube will only expand. A main factor in this growth will be that people share YouTube videos with other people via social media, such as Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Also, more people want to send videos due to them being more and more viewed. It seems clear that there is more to YouTube and the internet sensations that is yet understood, and, with audience growing and billions logging on each day, as YouTube celebrates its 10th year, it remains one to watch. Our next story today sees the release of figures suggesting that up to 50% of us, that's 1 in 2, will face cancer in our lifetime. With the NHS under increasing scrutiny, we ask, how far has the research really gone? Are we close to beating the terrible disease? Over to Abby, live in a local medical centre in the northwest for more on the story.
100% more cancer patients survive today than in the 1970s. 40 years ago, just a quarter of cancer patients survived. Now, more than half will survive for at least a decade. Developments in both detection and treatment of cancer have brought us closer than ever to making cancer history. Today, screening helps diagnose people with cancer early when it's least life-threatening. As a result, 12% more people are diagnosed with cancer compared to 2004. Women aged 50 to 70 are now invited to breast screenings every 3 years. And although 4,000 women are treated unnecessarily, 1,300 lives are saved per year. In the 1970s, prostate cancer survival rates were at just 30%. Now, thanks to developments in screening and treatment offers, the survival rates have rocketed to 80%, making it one of the most treatable cancers. Breast cancer survival rates have gone up massively since 1971, when only 41% of patients survived. In 2007, 77% survived, according to Cancer Research UK. This increase in numbers makes advances in screening highly evident. In 1975, cervical cancer caused 500,000 fatalities. Today, this number has decreased by 300,000 because of screening and catching treatable cancerous cells early. The new HPV vaccine for high school girls is expected to reduce these numbers even further. From 1971 to 2007, lung cancer deaths amongst men fell by 55% due to increasing awareness of the dangers of smoking. Despite the importance of screening and treatment, preventing cancer is not just a question of medical advancement. Public awareness of the causes of cancer are equally important. In the same period, however, lung cancer deaths amongst women have risen by 77% because of an increasing number of women taking up smoking. This is just one piece of strong evidence that we shouldn't be complacent. The war against cancer hasn't been won yet.
I'm Archie and I'm here with Richard Jackson, who is a survivor of severe skin cancer, and he still lives to tell the tale. Richard, how did you feel when you were first diagnosed?
Being diagnosed with cancer is very, very scary. You're not entirely sure how it's going to work out, whether there's any treatment for you, whether you're going to survive, or whether your life is going to change.
Which hospital was it at, and what treatments did they offer you?
I was sent to the Christie Hospital in Manchester, which is a cancer hospital. Initially I was on trial and had a chemotherapy drug, and then after that I had an experimental drug called ipilimumab.
How do you feel about taking part in the trial, and how much did the treatment cost?
The trials at hospitals, at cancer hospitals, are set up not really for the benefit of patients, but for the pharmaceutical companies to find out how their drugs work. So it may well be that the trial is trying to find out if a drug has side effects or what the ideal dosage is. If the patient benefits, then that's a bonus. The drug that I was taking costs about £20,000 per treatment, and I had 5 of those treatments.
Why is it important to fundraise to pay for cancer treatments?
We're very lucky now in this country that a lot of cancer treatments that are coming online are available for patients to use. There's the Cancer Drugs Fund. Where it is lacking is research. Pharmaceutical companies won't research drugs that aren't going to be profitable. They will only research the ones where they're going to make some money from. What we have to do now is fund the research to treat the less common cancers.
Do you think we rely on fundraising too much? Shouldn't all cancer drugs be available to everybody on the NHS?
The cancer drugs themselves are available. What we need to do is find out more and find out which ones are working effectively. And for those people that maybe have a disease or a cancer like I did that didn't have a treatment, are able to have some life-saving treatment.
Next on the 1 o'clock news, with only 2 months to go until the general election, councils all over the country are facing significant cuts that could affect communities all over England. We go live to Will, reporting on the cuts being faced by Cheshire West.
Good afternoon. Councils in the north of England, such as Cheshire West and Chester, believe that the local authority funding allocation has been deliberately manipulated to help Conservatives in the south. There is a £66.44 difference between cuts in the north and south. Northern councils are being cut an average of £88 per person and £24 per person in the south. The cuts are expected to affect local libraries, and with the general election fast approaching, we ask what will change in the local communities, and will the cuts be evened out over the north and over England? Our reporter Sam is with the local MP for Ellesmere Port and Neston, discussing the proposed council cuts and the political parties' intentions for the forthcoming election.
Here from Neston High School, we're reporting on local and general council cuts. Like many local councils, tightened budgets have left councillors having to discuss cheaper alternatives to the current facilities. With me today is local MP candidate Justin Madders. What will you try to change if you become the MP?
Well, looking on a national basis, I think we're heading in the wrong direction in terms of how work's playing out for people. I think we're creating more insecure, part-time, low-paid, lower-skilled jobs, 0 hours contracts, that sort of thing, which really isn't the future for this country, I believe. I want us to be investing in high-quality, high-tech, green jobs, creating a sustainable economy, but also creating jobs which people know at the end of each week how much they've got, so they can pay the bills and plan for the future. Also want to create more secure employment. People will have permanent jobs. They won't be, victim to the hire and fire culture that we've got at the moment. And I think as a whole, if we start to have more permanent, well-paid, secure jobs, we will grow as a country.
Thanks for that, Justin. You've been a councillor for 17 years. What do you think have been the main issues in Neston?
Well, Neston, like a lot of towns, has had similar issues. For example, there's a limit on housing. And we desperately need more good quality, affordable housing to keep younger people in the town. I think there's a challenge at the high street. Like a lot of high streets have got issues in terms of the challenge of the internet and the way a lot of people will do their shopping online. I think there's issues to do with transport in particular. If you look at what it's like to get out of here at night, it's very difficult. If you want to go to Cheshire Oaks, for example, you can't really get there by bus in the evening. We have done some good things in terms of youth activities. The Youth and Community Centre is a good example of that. It's really bustling and lively now, but that isn't going to cater for everyone. And I think we need to make sure that there's more things for young people to do in the town, and also give people access so they can travel further afield for work and for play.
Thanks. How have things changed for Neston, given that it is now part of Cheshire West and Chester Council?
Well, I think things have changed for the worse. I think we have now got a much less accountable and remote system of governance. Sometimes it's very difficult to find out who's made the decision on a particular issue. There's much less debate, much less transparency and openness. The issue with Cuckoo Lane is a good example of that, where something happened in the area that a lot of people were very unhappy about, and it took a long time to actually get to the bottom of who decided it and why. I feel that like all councils, it's suffered under the cuts. On the positive side, Neston Town Council has managed to bring back some of the local accountability and decision making, and they've done some good things which have been specifically focused for Neston. The converse of that is, of course, Cheshire West is concerned with a much bigger area and does tend to focus on the larger city of Chester, sometimes to the expense of places like Neston.
Great. We often hear that many young people are not interested in politics. How do you feel young people can be encouraged to take an interest in politics?
Well, what you've got to do is really try and make it relevant to them, and I think that many of the things I've said to you today would strike a chord. I mean, for example, you know how difficult it is to get over here at the weekends if you're relying on public transport. Similarly, your friends, if they want to go to Cheshire Oaks, got to rely on parents giving lists. It's important that we get some support back into the bus service and give kids something to do locally. Looking forward, if you want to go to university, there's going to be big decisions and big differences between the parties about how that's funded. So even if you're not going to be able to vote this time, you look 5 years down the line, it could make a big difference to your life as to who's in government. Another thing that we're hoping to do, if you're not going to university, is increase the number of apprenticeships and also give job guarantees for long-term unemployed young people. And you may not think about these things in any great detail at the moment, but it really matters who you vote for, because a lot of those things that I've mentioned won't happen unless there's a Labour government, and the Conservatives or whoever else gets in will do different things. And I think people have got to look at each party's policies and decide what it is that they want to do for the best.
Thanks. What is your message to the students of Neston High School about the general election?
Well, if you're old enough to vote, I would encourage you to vote, and I think some of the issues I've just highlighted there about tuition fees and jobs guarantees for young people will be something that will hopefully be on your mind as you're about to leave school, and it really does matter who you vote for. And if you're not old enough to vote yet, further down the line, some of the decisions made by whoever's in government next will affect you. So even if you can't vote yourself, you can talk to people who are old enough, your parents or friends of your family, and say to them the things that are going to impact on you in the future and whether that will actually influence them in the way that they vote. And even if you can't vote, there's nothing to stop you getting involved. You can join political parties, you can join the Labour Party at the age of 14. Now, for example, you can get involved, and I always say that if there's something that you're not happy about, things won't change unless you get involved and make that change yourself. So I really would encourage you, if there is something that you want to see changed, to grab the bull by the horns and try and make that change by getting involved.
Well, thank you, Justin Mathers. We appreciate your time. Well, as you have heard, changes are taking place that are likely to impact upon areas like Neston across the country. As the general election approaches, it remains to see what councils like this one will be doing to ensure facilities are available for those who really need them. This is Sam, reporting for BBC
Thanks,
School
Sam.
Report.
It seems there's a potentially serious impact on local communities. One area of particular concern for a number of communities is the threat to local libraries. Library campaigners have recently predicted that 1,000 libraries will be forced to close their doors by 2016. With a quarter of local libraries under threat, Ruby, our local library correspondent, spoke to Miss Pearson, a local librarian.
I'm here in Neston to discuss with Neston's library's librarian how the council's budget will affect the library. Do you think that the library service will be affected by the suggested budget cuts?
Yes, definitely. This service will be scaled back and reduced, and the public will not have the same amount of access to the library, and they won't have the same access to the amount of stock that they have now.
How do you feel that libraries benefit the community?
There's a huge benefit, especially with education. The public come in, access materials that they need for their studies to progress to go to university, and also there's a huge social benefit to the community in terms of relationships that are built there, contacts that are made, and there's a reading community as well.
Do you think that the Neston public should be consulted before any changes are made to the library?
It's vital that they know it's their community resource. It's really important that they can also access this consultation through sites like social media and online polls, because some people cannot access the meetings.
And that's the latest live from the library here in Neston. I'm Ruby, and I'm back to the studio.
Thanks, Ruby. That report on the council cuts coming from you from Cheshire West. Join us in the 2 o'clock news for our special report on how one school is bucking the trend with secured funding for a brand new build. I'm Emma.
And I'm Karis.
Reporting from the BBC studio in Neston.
Good afternoon.